Hey guys, how's it going? Alongside Chris, my name's Ryan. This is Sarcastic Remarks. We're not doing a Donald Stars show today. We're doing a Texas Stars show. We are here live at the HEB Center. Just watched the Texas Stars versus the Tucson Roadrunners. Very infamous owner Alex Meruelo, former of the Arizona Coyotes, still owns the team. But the Texas Stars do fall tonight by a final score of 6-3. The score is a little misleading. There were two empty net goals, and then the fourth goal for the Roadrunners wasn't scored until 2.5 minutes remaining. But we just wanted to come here and just kind of take in a game. And Chris is normally here. I am normally not here, so I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a very enjoyable for me to get a little bit closer to the action. And just to be able to see some of the prospects and some of the players that are here down in Texas. Chris, what did you see from the game tonight? What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, before the start of the game, it was really interesting. We found out that both Petrovic and Capobianco, who are the two veteran defensemen for the Texas Stars, got scratched today. And that led to some of the younger defensemen for Texas having to play a much bigger role tonight. Turned out to be a little bit costly. There's the first 3 goals for Tucson were due to turnovers. The first 2 were actually unassisted even. So some struggles with the defense there, but also a really physical game that Tucson played that the Texas Stars tried to match up to. And we talked to Coach Graham after the game, and his response to that was, we have gear too. So I'm guessing we'll have a little bit more of a aggression from the Texas Stars tomorrow night when they try to match up to what Tucson brought.
Is it aggression that they need, or is it more of like a physical kind of game?
Yeah, I mean.
Or yes.
Yeah,
yes.
What's the difference? But yeah. So there are 2 fights tonight. I mean, Curtis Douglas, that was the big highlight of the game. Was Douglas he's a 6'9" player, former Dallas Stars draft pick. He gets in a little kerfuffle in front of the Stars bench, and Luft actually comes in and fights him to stand up for his teammate. And Douglas has a 6-inch advantage on Luft and 50 pounds on him. So, great standing up for your teammate there, and Texas doing what they can. But I'm thinking if Tucson has the same kind of physical energy that tomorrow that they brought tonight, then we might see even more from Texas.
Well, and that's something that we talked a lot about in the post-game conference with Coach Graham. A lot was just the physicality of the game, and then there was a lot of pointing out that there were 3 rookies and 2 second-year players in the line. So more than half of the D-core in the lineup tonight, and we thought it might be a kind of high-scoring game. It kind of was, but honestly, I thought it was pretty well. It was there were some good moments and there were some bad moments from the D-core.
Yeah, and that's really the key of it is it was feast or famine for them, really. I mean, when they messed up really badly, and it led directly to the 3 goals. But outside of that, they played solidly against the cycle in their own zone. I thought they did pretty well. Like I said, tons of aggression from Tucson, and they did decent handling it for the most part. But man, when they messed up, they messed up bad.
So we heard what Coach Graham said about, what you do to kind of come back from that. But especially for these players down here, where this is more of a development kind of league rather than a just results-based league, which is kind of what the NHL is. There is some development in the NHL too, but in the AHL, it is very much on the development of the players. What do you tell those young guys when they make a couple of bad plays? Because there were some. We talked about Miro and Harley last night. Those turnovers. Yep. Copy paste the exact kind of turnovers we saw from those guys.
Yeah, and it's kind of the exact same thing. What Miro and Harley did so well last night after those turnovers is they were able to respond really well and have a really good rest of the game after 2 really bad turnovers. And that's the same kind of thing that you're trying to learn down here. Especially, I saw Caro, who had a really hard time a couple of times tonight and was super pissed off by the end of the game. You saw him slamming his stick going off the ice and stuff. And you might need a little bit of that, a little bit of failure, learning how to do it wrong and do it better next time you make a mistake. So, like you said, developmental league, and that's a good lesson to learn.
Well, and Nick, your buddy from 100 Degree Hockey, found a little little souvenir over there, didn't he?
Yeah, Nicholas found a little piece of a stick in the hallway. So
I'm sure that was not found on purpose. I'm sure that there was a lot of frustration. But again, Coach Neil Graham kind of talked about that and the fact that there was a lot of frustration. It sounded like from the players tonight, and I forgot who it was. It was down over here, down to our right over here, and there was a player that slammed a stick over the crossbar. I want to say it was Chris.
I think it was,
but I don't remember exactly. But honestly, I like to see stuff like that.
Yeah,
because it shows that these guys are competitive and that they care a little bit more. And I know it sucks. You don't want to give up the turnovers like that, but it's still good to see that kind of compete.
Yeah, and that's one really great thing about the Texas team here is that these guys really want to win. They have in their locker room, we win here, and they truly believe it. Even though it is a developmental league, like we mentioned, they're trying to win games. They're trying to win the Calder Cup is their goal here. So they get really pissed off when they screw up, and they get really high on their teammates whenever they block a shot. Or, for example, after Luft got out of the penalty box after his fight with Douglas, the whole Stars bench and a large portion of HEB Center got on their feet, cheered for him, banged on the boards. I mean, and that's what this team is really built. I mean, it's the first game of 2025, and it really feels like a close-knit group down here in Austin.
So a lot of players are back in the lineup here. We talked about Bishel. This is his first game back. He wasn't able to make it in the games in Manitoba. Curtis McKenzie was playing for Team Canada at the Spangler Cup.
Yep.
So he's back. He gets a goal tonight as well. And then obviously Justin Ritzkovian is back in the lineup today as well. Although I don't think it's his first game back. Is it his first game back?
It is his first game back.
Okay, so 3 players in the lineup tonight, 3 very key guys for this team. The captain, your number 1 defenseman, basically, and your top point producer. I mean, how important were all 3 of those guys?
Yeah, super important, especially with Capobianco and Petro being out. Bishel played a ton this game. I mean, he was really leaned on the defensive side and on the penalty kill. Ritzkovian got 2 assists tonight. He was a big part of those goals, and the Curtis McKenzie goal was really timely. It was right after that fight from Luft when the Stars got a power play, and they made Tucson pay for their aggression early. So all 3 of those guys are super important, really important to this team, and they had a really great first game back, and it wasn't much of a slump for either Ritzy or Bishel coming back to AHL. They showed pretty strong.
I'll come back to Ritzy here in a second, but maybe I'm just grasping at straws here. But you said it was weird as well, and you mentioned it. Both Kyle Capobianco, offensive defenseman here, he hasn't been called up at all, but he could be called up to the Dallas Stars, but not likely. And then also Petrovic, who Dallas Stars fans are very familiar with. Both of those guys being out is very strange and very weird. Am I grasping straws here to say that maybe one of them is headed to Dallas?
I don't think they are, because Dumba got taken off the IR. I feel like that's the main reason, is that he's just healthy. And I mean, he's only kind of healthy too, because he's wearing the bubble too. The bubble, yeah. So he's back as soon as he can, is what that kind of tells me. Yeah, we didn't really get any more from Coach after the game as to why they're out.
About it, yeah.
Maybe we can go to morning skate tomorrow and try and figure out what's going on with them. But yeah, Capobianco was actually on the starting sheet that the media got, and last minute was kind of taken off of it. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on with them. Hopefully not too much, because they are important to Dallas. Like Petrovic especially, he's a solid extra guy that Dallas can bring up and feel confident in getting 10, 12 good minutes out of. So hopefully those guys don't have anything too serious going on.
Okay, I want to avert our attention a little bit to Mr. Magnus Hellberg, who enormous. He's what, 6'5", 6'7", something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on what you look.
He's just as big as Bishop.
Yeah, it depends. Say that. Depends on your source, but he's like 6'6", 6'7". He's about the same size as Bishop.
But your comment to me that he's almost like a god here. Like the people here in Cedar Park in the Austin area absolutely love this guy, and I think I saw tonight why. He was very good for a Texas Stars team that was kind of depleted in the experience level when it comes to their decor.
Yeah, he was really good, and I think you saw a big reason why the big guy is so good. There was a lot of traffic in front of him tonight, but he used his positioning. He used his crazy size super well tonight to stop a lot of pucks that he didn't even really see. And yeah, the fans here absolutely love him. They've got a poster with his face on it in the third row over by their bench.
I saw that, yeah.
And he's a character too. I mean, there was in the last series he made a big save, and he pops up and just throws his hands out and calls the save for the official. I mean, he's a really good goalie. He's a great number 3 for Dallas. If either DeSmith or Otter, hopefully they never go out, but if they do, there's a solid option down there. It's not going to be like last season where you had to just ride Otter into the ground. There's a solid number 3 that can get some games in should they be needed.
Well, and I mean, we remember last year, it was November, December, when Wedgwood basically played, 17 games in a row?
A lot.
Until the other Matt Murray, finally got into the lineup, and it was one game against Chicago. He played okay, but there was a reason why the coaching staff in Dallas was not comfortable with him starting a game.
Yep.
Speaking of which, by the way, I hope Wedgwood is okay. I haven't actually gone into depth.
Yeah, I just saw that earlier.
I saw in the game against Buffalo earlier. But okay, let's take another kind of hard right turn and kind of talk about the forwards on this team. And I'll give you my perspective on what I thought, and then you can tell me whether it's right or wrong or whatever. It seems like there's a lot of players that are very noticeable, and then there's a good chunk of players that are just kind of there.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And that's different for me because in Dallas, it seems like each player has their moments in games. Like, yeah. I mean, every once in a while we'll see Maverick Borkpack pop off, or Miro or whoever. But like in the game tonight, Hughes was really impressive. Yeah. I loved his game here tonight. Ritzy was everywhere. I think his name in my notes, I had him about 7 or 8 different times. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's no surprise here. He was on a 10-game point streak before he got called up to Dallas. And then I also saw a lot of Cole Lind as well. I was impressed with his game as well. And then just a friend of the show, actually, Matthew Semenoff, he had his chances tonight too. He had a couple of chances, not as large as the other 3. But, I mean, what do you think about those players in the game here tonight, or just in general? What do Stars fans need to know about those 4 guys?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more normal for a hockey team to have your top line players kind of be far and away a lot better. I think Dallas is kind of unique in that area.
Of the depth. Yeah.
Right. So, Texas has been led by Ritzkovian, Hughes, and Stranges, who have far and away more points than anyone else on the team and dominate the scoring sheet pretty much every single night. So I think that's more normal, and those 3 guys really have been great, along with Huru, who's up in Dallas right now, has had a fantastic year. So I think that's more normal for a hockey team. I think Dallas is is it going against the rule?
The exception to
the
rule.
Exception. Thank you.
The exception to the rule. Okay. Well, who's the player that we need to be looking out for? Obviously, as Stars fans know about Bischel, he played about 7 or 8 games up in the NHL and everything like that. But behind him and behind some of the other familiar names like Stranges and Huru and Ritzkovian, who Stars fans have already seen, who's someone that might have another opportunity to get a call up to Dallas?
To get a call up, Stranges would be really interesting. I mean, you talk about how bad the Dallas Stars power play has been.
He would be a good addition to that.
Steven, editor-in-chief of 100 Degree Hockey, mentioned, like, why not just bring Stranges up and just play him on the power play? I mean, if you have really less forwards, then why not give that a try? Because the Stars power play has been pretty terrible. So, and Stranges, he's an outstanding player. He's got a crazy skating. If you didn't read my article, he uses the 10-2 Mohawk skating style, and he can make some crazy moves to go coast to coast on the ice. And he's a forward, but he plays back and is the main puck carrier from the neutral zone into the offensive zone on the power play for the Stars. And the Stars power play was very good tonight. Surprising it only got 1. But he was a big part of that. There was almost no resistance on the offensive blue line for the Stars on the power play tonight.
Let's talk about that. I think that'd be a good segue into like the differences for what we see here compared to Dallas. And in Dallas, we're seeing a lot of stagnant play from the Stars. Like there's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of moving around for the Dallas Stars. And then here tonight, and I know it's not really comparable because it's AHL versus NHL, and it's a little bit, it's speed wise, it's definitely slower. But what I saw from the AHL power play here was so much more movement, and there were so many more creative passes, if that makes any sense. It wasn't just, to the slot or just around the perimeter or stuff like that. They had some cross zone passes that kind of opened up some ice for some specific players. Like there was a couple of chances where Bishel had an opportunity to take a shot there. Strong Jess had a huge opportunity, just missed the net. Is that something that the Dallas can maybe learn from?
Yeah, there's probably two parts to that. One is AHL penalty kills aren't quite as good as NHL ones, so you're able
not even close. So, I did figure that out.
So you're able to get the passes through the box a little bit easier than you are in the NHL. It's not as tight. Another part of that you got to give credit to Texas is they take really good shots and they force the defenders to come out and challenge those shots, especially from the sidewalls. You see a lot of one-timers, a lot of players really looking for one-timers in a way that Dallas really doesn't. And that's why I've been saying a lot in those after-game reviews we do, that it'd be great to see someone wind up a one-timer and just unleash it every now and then. It doesn't feel like we get that very much unless it's coming from the point. So I think the half-wall shots and how dangerous they are, especially.
We got a goal tonight from it.
Right.
Not on the power play, but still on the half.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is Hughes is a guy who has a crazy shot that works that well for the one-timer. So they're forced to respect it. It's forced to open the box a little bit more, and then that leads to the cross crease passes that you can score on too. So I definitely think the shooting is the number one thing for me, especially those one-timers off the side.
Yeah. And the penalty killing for the Texas Stars here tonight was actually very good too. And what was also really interesting, at least from a over analytical, super fan like I am, at least, there's so many similarities in how the AHL Stars and how the NHL Stars play. Excuse me, but it because the styles are so similar, it is really easy to tell when there is a difference. And one of the differences I noticed was on the penalty kill. It was a little bit more passive and not as aggressive as the NHL Stars are. And so especially when we see guys coming up from the AHL to the NHL, that's normally why I think we don't see them get penalty kill minutes all that often. Now, Bishel is a little bit of a different story because he's just a monstrosity of a human. He can just push people out of the way. But I thought that, for me, not like anybody cares about what I think, but I thought that was really interesting for me.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I think part of that is because, like I said, the AHL, you tend to get those cross box passes a little bit easier. So when you play it a little bit more passive, you kind of take that away a little bit more. And there is some differences here, especially compared to other AHL squads. Other teams will play the exact system that the NHL team does, and Texas doesn't exactly do that. They allow a little bit more differences, and this is definitely Neil Graham's team and his systems and stuff. So it is a little bit different, and it might be a little bit more challenging for players to come up and play the PK, but I think the main reason you're not seeing Texas Stars play on the PK very much is just the Dallas Stars PK has been fantastic. So don't mess with something that's working so well.
All right. One more thing I want to talk about, and then just because I want to talk about the success that they've had here, and then you want to do a biggest winner, biggest loser?
Yeah,
sure. Why not? You really can tell a success of especially of an AHL franchise, in my opinion, based off of who you see at the NHL club right now. And I mean, when you look at the NHL club right now, there are some ridiculous people like Wyatt Johnson and Miro Heiskanen who barely spend any time, if at all, no time in the AHL. But for a majority of players, including the best players on the Dallas Stars right now, they were here at one point. When you look at Rope Hintz, he got called up and he was there for a while and started the season with the Dallas Stars and got sent back down, got called back up, and he's stayed there ever since. You look at Jake Ottinger, even players like Maverick Bork has spent time here.
Robertson spent time.
I was about to say Robertson has spent time here. I mean, just Oscar Back. Oscar Back is a perfect example of a successful player who, is not the flashy type and is not going to be expected to get like goal scoring and stuff like that. But that right there is a success in and of itself. And when you look at the majority of the Dallas Stars that are super important to that NHL franchise, a lot of them spent time here. So I think that goes to show you how much success that, coaches of the past here have had with those players. And then the current coaches here, Maxim Fortunas, Neil Graham. And I think that just says a lot to what the success that they have had here.
Yeah, to me, it's really a testament to how well the Stars management has really done with the entire organization. Like we talk a lot about how good they are to the free agents that come in. Tanev was really over the moon about how well he was treated, even as a rental, which everyone kind of knew he was. But that goes all the way down.
I'm still sour about that.
It comes all the way to Austin here in Cedar Park. It goes all the way up to Idaho for the Steelheads. I mean, even the coach of the Texas Stars started in Idaho and
That's true, yeah.
worked his way up and earned his head coaching gig here. So they've really built strong relationships, and with Travis Moore and Fortuna's former players, they're able to, and Jordy Ben, who's a big part of player development.
Coach here, yeah.
They really build a close-knit group, and it makes the players here feel important because they are, and they see all those players that got called up, and they really feel like this is a place where they can get better and learn the skills that those guys learned and make their way to the NHL. So yeah. I think it running your organization well gets buy-in from your players, and better players leads to more championships.
Yeah. And by the way, that was really cool. We did run into Jordy Ben in the elevator. We were talking about Manitoba because that's where the Texas Stars had just come from recently. They just played a couple games there. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I guess we'll do a biggest winner, biggest loser. Who you got?
Yeah, I'll take the biggest winner. I'm going to give it to Hughes again because he had another crazy goal. He's been the highlight reel tonight. If you saw the between the legs OT winner, that was Hughes as well. He doesn't score boring goals. He only scores the most awesome goals you've ever seen. So I'll give it to Hughes.
Sports Center top 10 worthy moments. Yes. And I have a feeling Antonio Stranges is like that too. Is that true?
He gets a lot of those highlights.
Yes, yeah. That's good to see for him as well. For me, there's one player I haven't really talked about that was really noticeable to me. Was Becker tonight. I don't know why I thought he was really noticeable to me, but he made a lot of good plays, had some opportunities down in the offensive zone. For me though, I'll give the biggest winner to Mr. Magnus Hellberg. Like he made some really big stops, especially when the Stars were hemmed in their own zone. There was at one point in the middle of either the second or the third where they were in their own zone for at least 2 minutes without a line change. Yeah. And he made probably about 2 or 3 big saves to keep them in it, and eventually froze the puck and allowed them to get the change. So it was really fun to watch. He really was.
Yeah. I'll give my biggest loser to Curtis Douglas, the former Stars draft pick. He was going after somebody that was like half his size probably or something, yes. And that's when Luft came in and separated from it. But yeah. He scored tonight, by the way, so this is just a biggest loser because he did really well against us.
Yes, I mean, we're sour.
This is sour biggest loser, yes.
Yeah. I will give it to him as well for my biggest loser. Actually, no, I won't be boring. I guess you could say that the turnovers tonight were probably the biggest issue.
Yeah,
that's probably the real biggest loser is just the turnovers. But again, this is really young decor here tonight. 3 rookies, 2 second years.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're without Bianco and you're also without Petrovic, 2 really big, important veterans.
Which a lot of the time is your top pair. I mean, imagine the Dallas Stars playing without Heiskanen and Harley.
That's basically what they did tonight. Exactly. Yeah. So that's my biggest loser. But, okay. Yeah. Anything else?
That's about it. We'll be here again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tucson's playing again. We'll be covering that. We won't be the Stars game. We might throw some thoughts in there, but this will be another Texas Stars post game.
Yep, I'll be keeping track of it on my computer as we watch it up here. Although I just love being so close to the ice here.
Oh yeah,
I know
the press box way here, different than anywhere. The Dallas press box can't see it all. You need binoculars. Right here, you literally have the best seat.
Yes, it is literally the best seat in the house. And like at first, I was worried because I was just like I couldn't tell who all the players were. I don't know all the players yet, but you can see the numbers. I had my roster in front of me.
You can read their names.
Well, for me, I'm a little slow with that. But anyways, thank you guys for following along with us. Thank you those who are listening afterwards. Thank you to our sponsors, DraftKings and Game Time. Promo code is THPN. The next time you are there, we'd appreciate it if you use that promo code. Lets them know that we are the ones that send you. Along with Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. We'll be back with you guys again tomorrow. Chris looks a lot more dapper than I do. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. You want to say anything, even though we lost?
I don't like Curtis Douglas.
Yeah.